وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر وعبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
And good morning, everybody. This is Ray Hanania sitting in for Layla Al-Husseini on a segment called Radio Baladi, which is Friday, July 9th, 2021, here on WNZK AM 690 Radio. We're also broadcasting live on Facebook at facebook.com/US Arab Radio. We're brought to you by the US Arab Radio Network, and which Layla Al-Husseini has built up from scratch. One of the biggest Arab American radio programs in the United States. It isn't just one 30-minute program. It's a series of programs Monday through Friday, like none other in the country, based in Detroit. I'm Ray Hanania. I used to do this every Friday. Now I do my show on Wednesday mornings on the U.S. Arab Radio Network here at WNZK, and also in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday mornings at WDMV AM 700. And it's sponsored by Arab News at arabnews.com. We have a special focus today. This morning on relief efforts, the first segment, relief efforts for residents in Gaza. And later on at the bottom of the hour, we will be focused on the challenges facing Syrian refugees with two groups that are helping both in Gaza and the Syrian refugees in the Middle East. Right now, we're speaking with our guest, Hala Sanyurah, who works with Life for Relief. This organization is one that I've helped so many times because it's a phenomenal charity that brings money directly to the people in need. They're working to bring aid to beleaguered Gaza residents. And we will go into detail with her. We're going to take a quick break first, okay? And when we come back, we'll sit and talk with Hala, who is the PR specialist for Life for Relief and Development, and has been with Life for Relief since December of 2019. I'm Ray Hanania. Let's take our first break, and when we come back, we will talk with Hala about all the great things and the challenges that exist for civilians in the Gaza Strip. Ray Hanania will be right back right after these messages.
ArabNews.com, bringing you breaking news from across the Middle East and the latest on Arabs in America. Get inside the latest headlines with expert analysis and insights at ArabNews.com. Join over 5 million Facebook fans and over 10 million monthly readers. ArabNews.com, news that matters to you. Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
Are your hands feeling numb? Do you feel pain opening up a jar, turning a key? Are you noticing that your elbow and your shoulder are becoming stiff? Or were you recently injured in your arm? Hello, I'm Dr. Al-Majid Katranji, and at the Katranji Hand Center, which just recently opened down the street from the Somerset Mall, we can provide you with the latest in hand, wrist, elbow, and shoulder care. Visit us at www.katranjihandcenter.com to learn the latest techniques that we have to offer you, and I look forward to taking care of you.
Visit us in Troy at 1565 West Big Beaver Road, Building F, or call Katranji Hand Center for an appointment at 248-869-4263. That's 248-869-4263. Get ready for an amazing experience at Ishtar Restaurant on 15 Mile Road in Sterling Heights. Enjoy excellent hospitality from owners Ali Al-Baghdadi and Fatty Bonham, serving the best in Mediterranean food. Try Chef Ali Al-Baghdadi's famous shawarma, the best Iraqi grills and food, and the best Arabic and international dishes. Dine in our authentic atmosphere or take out. Call 586-698-2585 or check us out on Facebook. Ishtar Restaurant practices all CDC guidelines and is open every day 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Have an amazing experience today at Ishtar Restaurant, 3625 15 Mile Road, Sterling Heights.
And welcome back to Radio Bellady. I'm Ray Hanania. It is Friday, July 9th, and on the Zoom line and phone line on radio and Zoom on Facebook, we have Hala Sanyurah. Hala, welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you, Ray.
Hala is the PR specialist for Life for Relief and Development, has been with Life since December of 2019. Life for Relief and Development is a global humanitarian relief and development organization headquartered in Southfield, Michigan. In the United States, Life is dedicated to providing humanitarian aid to people regardless of race, gender, religion, or cultural background. First, give us a little snippet, just for those who may not know. I mean, obviously in Detroit, I think you're well known out there in the Southfield, Michigan area, but maybe on Facebook, just to remind people, what does Life for Relief and Development do? Some examples, and then we'll focus in on Gaza.
So Life for Relief and Development, as you said, we're a humanitarian organization. We focus all over the world in 45 different countries, actually, in all of the continents. And we are, I don't want to say first responders, but in a way, once a natural disaster hits, we're there. Right. For like hurricanes that have happened, we send emergency aid. Countries that are, destroyed by war, things like that. So anytime there's a need for that humanitarian aid, Life Relief and Development steps in any way they can. Recently, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic that was global, we've done a lot of work with providing different medical supplies to countries that were short of PPE during that time, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So we tried to provide a lot of family assistance for people around the world during that pandemic time as well.
And of course, Gaza has been the focus of repeated turmoil and conflict and violence. And it's not about politics that you address. You talk about the people, the victims. Not everybody is a problem there. 99% of them are people that have been injured and are in need, and they need help. And you are one of the few organizations, I think, that goes to Gaza and helps those civilians.
Yes, that's correct, Ray. So we are, like you said, we are one of the few organizations that have the privilege to be able to go in to Gaza and help these people that desperately need our help. Recently, like I said, with COVID-19, that was something that we also helped with in Gaza. We gave them emergency food baskets, and Ramadan that had just ended, we also supplied food baskets to families that were in need, as well as hot meals during the iftar, where they break their fast after the sun sets. And then with the winter, it's around the corner. A lot of people cannot afford to purchase heavy coats. So we provided 700 people in Gaza with heavy coats to prepare for themselves for the harsh winter over there.
Yeah, and people forget that, they think, oh, Gaza is in the desert and it's hot, but no, it's the winter can be very terrible, and if you don't have a good roof over your head, it's going to be a horrible experience. And a lot of families there with kids have no work, no income coming in, no money, no fresh water. That's one of the things that you're involved in, right? Installing water tanks.
Yep. So recently, we installed 139 1,000-liter water tanks in different homes of people, which will provide them with clean water supply for drinking as well as for cooking for a whole year. And our goal is to install 1,000 water tanks. But of course, we need that help from our donors for their support in doing this. Each water tank is about $600. And like I said, it provides a family of 8 with water supply for a year, which they desperately need.
So the water tank is, do you bring the water? In other words, when you set up the water, I think for listeners, you set up the water tank for them and fill it with the water. And that water is replenished or is just large enough to handle the family.
Right. So each water tank is 1,000 liters. So,
wow.
Which will last them for a family of 8. It can provide for a year long water supply. And what we like to do, the more donations we get, of course, the more it helps, because we can keep that water supply going and also install more water tanks in more homes for people that desperately need it.
And of course, the website for Life for Relief and Development is lifeusa.org. Lifeusa.org. You can go there, and it's very simple to help and donate and provide funding. I have many friends in Gaza, and I know how difficult it is. And we're, just trying to help them is difficult, given just normal challenges is tough. But on top of that, they have the political stuff. You're also, in addition to water, you're going to provide hot meals to people, correct?
Correct. So we actually did about 900 trays of hot meals, which each tray provides for 4 people. And we're on the work of hopefully opening up a kitchen that Life can help provide continuous food and continuous hot meals for people that are in need. In addition to that, we've done a total of 1,825 hot meal trays.
Oh, wow. Wow.
All divided between three different distributions. So, and like I said, each of those trays serves 4 people. So, and aside from that, yes, exactly. And that's our goal, is to help as many as we can. And aside from those hot meals, we've also done food basket distributions for people. We've done a total of 870 emergency food baskets, in addition to 640 fresh food baskets. And each basket will serve a family of 6 people for about a month.
Wow. And that's 6 people. I'm just amazed. And, it sounds like, and it is a lot. I mean, it sounds like a lot, and people may sit back and go, oh, great, you're really taking care of everybody. But as you point out, it's food basket serves, 6 people, you said?
Family of 6, yeah.
Yeah, and the hot trays serve 4, but once that's gone, it has to start up again.
That's correct.
And the need there has to be huge.
Very huge.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand the suffering that people are allowed to, go through. And if you're listening out there, especially as the Eid is coming up, the big Eid al-Adha, people should be thinking about how to help people who are in real need. And I don't think people are in more real need than the civilians in the Gaza Strip. And Life for Relief, their website again is lifeusa.org. They are one of the proven, dependable charities that can get into Gaza and provide that aid consistently, not just, when something happens, they just pop up and organize a fundraiser. They're all over the place, but Gaza is one of the many places that they provide food and water, as we're talking with our guest on the line, Hala Sanyurah. And Hala is the PR specialist for Life for Relief and Development. There's so much more that you do. You tell us about this recent, even, you got to give people food, but you also have to give them an environment, right? To grow and live, to overcome all the problems they have. So you did something recently, right, for the children?
Yes, I was going to get on that next. Yes, exactly. So for the children, we did like a fun day. And, after looking at those photos, my heart was just so warmed by the smiles that were put on the faces of these young children. And there was 600 children that were part of this. Yes, it was a lot of children. And the mothers actually told us, they've never seen their kids so happy since they were born. And that it was kind of a bittersweet comment to me, because since they're, a lot of these kids are between 6 and maybe 12 years old, and not to see a smile on their face for so long, that was hurtful to me. But then to be the ones that could have put that smile on their face after so long, it felt good at the same time. And they were so happy. We gave them sandwiches. They had carnival games, comedians, singers, and they, we gave them out toys and raffle games and stuff like that. So looking at the pictures, you could tell they really had a lot of fun, as they deserve. Their childhood has been stolen by their situation, and for us to be able to at least just give them a day, wish we can give them a lot more, because they deserve that. But to at least give them that one good day for 600 children felt really good.
I have one of my friends is a journalist there in Gaza, Mohammed Ali Ma'ari. He takes photos for, independent publications, and he freelances, and he has a project where he wants to take pictures of, the natural environment of Palestine and document it. And I know that, I don't know if Life for Relief is looking for a photographer, but Mohammed Al Mari is a good guy to help take some of those photos. We are on the line with Hala Sanyurah, who is the spokesperson for Life for Relief and Development. And she's giving, and I have to tell you, I always feel bad when I do interviews like this. It's a terrible burden. I don't know how the people at Life for Relief and all those people who, first responders that reach out and work, to help people in need, the suffering that you're surrounded with. We take it for granted. I mean, we miss breakfast and we get upset. A lot of these people are not eating for days and weeks. It's got to be, mentally, it has to be stressful on the people who are volunteering. Like, can you ever reach a point where, wow, we've reached a point where we've taken care of everybody? It's like, it's endless, right?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's endless. But at the end of the day, I guess what helps you sleep at night is knowing that we're doing our best. And, the more support we get, the more we're able to do for the people that are in need. And it's just like I said, when you see these pictures of the homes destroyed, a kid searching for food under rocks, things like that, it's really, it's heartbreaking, but it also brings you to your own reality that, wow, I have it good,
Right.
And it makes you stop and count your blessings and stop complaining about those little things. But to be able to do as much as we can is what really keeps us going. The more we can do, the better, because like you said, it's endless of how much help they need, as far as medical supplies, food, water, basic needs. I mean, they're not even in need of these humongous things. It's the basic human rights that they deserve is what they're in need of.
Yeah, it's constantly looking for the end of the rainbow, basically,
Exactly.
And it's impossible to reach it. But there's so much need. I mean, and so many things that you have to do. And you did a great job of breaking this up. I mean, you need to distribute fruits and vegetables to family in Gaza, right?
Yep. Those fresh food baskets, we did 640 of them.
Wow.
And we distributed those among different families, and that also will serve a family of 6 as well. And that, that's something that won't last a month, obviously, because it's fresh food, but it will get them through maybe a couple of days. But they really need more than that, and we're trying our best to provide them with everything they need. Those basic needs aren't being met right now in Gaza, and they haven't been for the longest time. So as a humanitarian organization, it's our duty, we feel, to put our best foot forward to make sure that they're being taken care of.
And I know that as people listen, it may seem nice that, things are getting done there, but they're like, I don't know, 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza. And, it's just insurmountable, 2,000 trays of food, 1,000, emergency food baskets, and, 1,000 water tanks there. And that last a year, which that to me is phenomenal. That probably it just makes me feel good, because it's such a good project. When people donate to Life for Relief, can they specifically say, hey, I want to see if I can, donate money to put more water tanks, for example, or
Yes.
does it just go into a general fund that provides food and water and fruit and meat and everything to families?
So we have, right, we have on our website, if anyone wants to go to the website, we have options. So you can pick, if you want to do a general donation to a country, you can. And that money, if you decide, I want to put my money towards Gaza, we'll put that towards a water tank, wherever we see the need fit. We will put that money towards. And I believe too, there is an option for specifically choosing, I want to put money towards a water tank, because they're expensive. They're $600 per tank. But like I said, it's a year supply of water. So at the end of the day, $600 goes for a whole year, you know.
What a great thing if I could figure out a way to get people here in the States to raise enough money to put 10,000 water tanks through you for a year, that would be huge.
That would be huge.
Yes, and people could do that. You know, people hear their, you know, $600 doesn't sounds like a lot of money, you know, but it's not, you know, here in the U.S. And to think that would provide a water tank filled with water that's going to provide water to a family for a year. Now that is amazing. I you know, I never realized that you could do that, and I'm going to do what I can to help spread the word and get the word out on that too. You also obviously you know, the food diet is wide and broad and includes meat, and of course, as the Eid holiday is the Eid al-Adha is you know, coming up, we want to, you know, help them, and it's less of a celebration, I guess, for them and more just to satisfy the responsibility and need that they have.
Yep. That's exactly it. And we're actually working on now meat distribution. We're taking donations on our website for meat distributions in 25 different countries, actually.
Well, we have one caller that we could bring on just for a few minutes. Jerry Haba, a big supporter of WNZK. And let's just bring him on so he can say a couple words. Jerry, welcome to the radio show, and it's so good to talk to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray Hanania. Good morning, and congratulations for your Wednesday show. It's so beautiful. Thank you. Congratulations. Mr. Habibi, Mr. Ray Hanania, thank you for bringing Mrs. Sanyurah. Ms. Sanyurah, good morning to you, and thank you for your service, the humanitarian service to the people of Gaza, because those people, they suffer a lot.
Our pleasure.
You, Ms. Sanyurah. Thank you. Ms. Sanyurah, United States government consider the authority in Gaza as a terrorist organization. My question will be, is the United States government allow a charity organization in United States, like in Detroit, the greater Detroit, to donate food or medicine or a blanket or even money to Gaza citizen? I would love to see if the United States have a bridge between United States and Gaza to reach those humanitarian help. So I would appreciate
that's a good question. That's a good question, Jerry, and thank you.
God bless you. And thank you, Mr. Ray Hanania, for taking my call.
Yeah, and I think Jerry's point is interesting, that they have this perception, and obviously you're not dealing with the politics, but they think that, oh, what if I donate to Gaza? Am I giving to you know, an organization the U.S. doesn't support? But the truth is that you're not talking about organizations. Life for Relief goes directly to people, and that charity support, people shouldn't be hesitant to donate to help people in Gaza because it's going directly to the people, correct?
That's correct. So it's not going to any, the organization it goes through is Life. And what we do, we take that money and we provide people with the needs. So that is a great question. No, a lot of people may think there's ties to, oh, you're donating to Gaza, you know, undercover. Yeah. No, it's not like that at all. They'll see that, you know, you're donating to Life for Relief and Development, who is an organization that has the authority to legally distribute humanitarian aid in Gaza.
Yeah,
and like I said, we're one of the very few that have that authority to distribute in Gaza.
Yeah, and that's an important point because he raised something that I hadn't thought about. People, they hear the word Gaza, they don't think of, because of the media in this country, we don't get our voice out the way others do. We need to be stronger. We need to be more consistent and, ongoing. It's not just, every couple minutes, but, or once a month, the story comes out. But they're inundated when bombarded by stories about how bad Gaza is in a political way. So it scares donors away. And you don't have to be Muslim or Arab or Palestinian to want to help people in need in Gaza. You can be Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and I know a lot of people donate to Life for Relief and Development from all across the religious and national spectrum. So if you're out there listening and you have the ability to do something this holiday, and even if you're not Muslim, just because these people really need help, Life for Relief and Development is the perfect place, to go. Hala, any final thoughts, before we say thank you we probably need to do like a 2-hour show to just even get to the depth of the challenges, what it's like to actually be there to help them, what the volunteers that work for Life and Relief for Development have to go through.
We actually already have one of our staff members will be heading out during the Eid holiday to Gaza and doing some work on the field firsthand, and I'm sure he would love to talk with you and discuss how that trip went and what he saw firsthand. What can he, but my final words are, the more help we get, the more support we get, the more we're able to do for these people in need in Gaza. And it's not, our focus is Gaza today, but we serve over 45 countries around the world. Right. And there's people in need all over. And like you said, regardless of their background, whether they're, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, we all bleed red at the end of the day. And our goal is to help anyone that needs it.
All right. My guest, Hala Sanyurah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray, for having
she's
me.
the PR spokesperson for Life for Relief and Development. We brought her on because the Eid is coming up. And there is a campaign, like she said, it's 45 countries that they help where people are in need. But the one we're talking about right now is Gaza, and they have such great need given all that they've gone through. The things that they're doing are amazing. Their website, please spread it around, lifeusa.org, www.lifeusa.org, a great organization. Hala, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Ray.
It was a pleasure, and I look forward to talking maybe afterwards. When your staff person comes back, maybe we can bring him on and talk about what he saw and, experienced to share that with people. Thank you.
Yes, love to. Thank you, Ray. Have a great day.
You're welcome. This is Ray Hanania here on Radio Bellady at WNZK AM 690. I'm sitting in for Layla El Husseini as a guest host. I do a show every Wednesday morning on WNZK AM 690 and also on WDMV AM 700 in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday morning, and I hope you will join us and listen. But right now, we're also broadcasting live on Facebook.com/US Arab Radio. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with the doctors and experts on the challenges facing Syrian refugees, another group and area that is in desperate need of help. I'm Ray Hanania. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Now getting your COVID-19 shot gives you a shot to win. Anyone in Michigan 18 and older vaccinated between December 1st, 2020 and July 30th, 2021 is now eligible to win millions in cash prizes, including $1 million jackpots and $50,000 daily prizes. And vaccinated students could win thousands in college scholarships. Get eligibility details and enter at mishottowin.com. Subject to sweepstakes rules. Scholarships available for ages 12 to 17.
Enjoy the first Syrian-style cuisine in Michigan. At Damas Cuisine and Catering, you'll find a wide selection of Syrian foods and sweets in our menu, like frike, hoisin, grape leaves with steak, mashawi platter, hot mahashi, char-grilled kebab, shawarma, and much more. Get super fast delivery from Damas Cuisine and Catering right to your door. Order online at damascuisine.com/menu and track your order live. Damas Cuisine and Catering, 28841 Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills. Call 248-987-4985. At Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic in Dearborn, we provide effective physical therapy sessions in order to limit pain and discomfort. Top Rehab provides physical therapy care for any diagnosis prescribed by a physician, and we regularly see and treat conditions such as stroke, TMJ, fibromyalgia, sciatica, joint pain, and more. We use a variety of pain management methods, including modalities, soft tissue mobilization, and therapeutic exercise. If you're in need of physical rehabilitation or physical therapy, get the highest quality health care at Top Rehab. Most insurance is accepted, and we're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 8 to 6, Tuesday and Thursday 8 to 5, and Saturday 10 till 2. Call for an appointment today at 313-846-0555. That's 313-846-0555. Choose Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn. Life's too short to be in pain.
While we've been staying safe at home, scientists have been on a journey. The destination, a COVID-19 vaccine. This journey began decades ago with research into other coronaviruses. Scientists built from there with months of research and development, cooperation with other experts worldwide, and clinical trials on tens of thousands of volunteers of diverse race, age, and health status. They arrived at a safe, effective vaccine, and hundreds of thousands in Michigan have already been vaccinated. But the next step is ours. We need to get the vaccine when we can. Keep wearing masks correctly and taking precautions until we reach our destination, freedom from COVID-19 and getting back to the lives we love. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
And welcome back to Radio Bellady here on WNZK AM 690 Radio. It's Friday morning, July 9th. We were talking earlier to Hala Sanyurah of Life for Relief and Development about the tragic challenges facing the people of the Gaza Strip and all the work that Life for Relief and Development is doing to help them. And we're kind of switching gears because now we're going to focus on the people of Syria, the refugees, the challenges that the Syrians have. And I have one guest on the line, and I'm hoping our second guest will join us. Right now, we have Ghazzoul, who's the assistant professor at Al Zaytuna University in Amman, Jordan. She's internationally recognized as an authority on refugees, especially the Syrian refugees, and she's participated in numerous forums and international conferences relating to this topic, most pressing challenges facing the modern world. Hopefully, we will be joined by Dr. Zaher Sahloul, who's the co-founder and president of Med Global, the U.S.-based humanitarian organization that provides free healthcare to displaced refugees around the world, including in Syria. Zaher is a great guy, and I know he does so much. Hopefully, he'll be able to connect while we're talking. But right now, I want to welcome Dr. Nahad Ghazzoul. Nahad, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Nope, we got to get your audio. Double check your audio. I can't hear you. So let's make sure we get that. Perfect. Thank you.
All
Technology is the biggest challenge. That's okay, though. But thank you so much, Nahad.
Thank you. Good morning to you and your listeners. Just let me correct one thing. Now, yes. I work at Nanterre University at Paris and not Al Zaytuna University. This has ended a while ago.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, I work at Nanterre University, Paris. Most welcome and thank you for hosting me in your program here.
Nanterre University in Paris. There you go. All right. I apologize for that. My information was incomplete, but still, you have a long record of not just educational, but and service to people in need and helping those in need. Let's also bring, it looks like Zaher just connected, so let's get him in there. There we go. We'll bring him on board. Hey, Dr. Sahloul, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Ray.
Oh, good morning. Thank you. I have Nahed Ghazzoul on the line also, and Dr. Zaher Sahloul, two really dedicated people that have, committing their lives to helping people in need. We were talking about Gaza with Life for Relief and Development. Zaher is the president of Med Global, the U.S.-based humanitarian group that provides free health care to the displaced, the refugees, and victims of wars and disasters. It's just tragic. There is a need like that. He's based in Chicago, my hometown. So welcome, Zaher, and again, Nahed. And maybe let's start with Nahed and talk a little bit about the challenges of helping the refugees. What's being done, and what's the situation, and how serious is it?
Right. So I understand that we are speaking about, the renewal of the UN resolution number 2165, which has been issued in 2014, which allows delivering aid through 4 border crossings, Turkey, Iraq, and Jordan. And in fact, the Russian voted used veto against this decision, and all the crossings closed, apart from Bab al-Hawa, which serves almost 4 million Syrian and displaced people in that area, out of which 1,043,000 living in camps, and more than 2,300,000 displaced, forced to be displaced from the regime areas. So Russia is threatening to close this only crossing border that is there to provide lifeline for those people. They want to use vetoes, so all the aid will be delivered through the regime government and of course the Russian. So the whole international society is now trying to mobilize support for the Russian extorsion, because this is how I see it. It is a real extortion, to gain more benefits, to tell the whole international society that it is not me who destroyed Syria and the Syrian cities on top of the heads of their people, but it's also me who is trying to bring them the aids that will be, sold in the market and that will be delivered to militia sectors.
Right, and that passage. It's amazing that there's only one place, one way in there, Dr. Sahloul. How difficult is it when there's only one passage, and then when they close that passage, has that interrupted what you've been trying to do there to help to get emergency aid to refugees inside Syria? And I'm sure they're around Syria also.
Yes, Ray. First of all, good morning to you and your audience. I'm happy to see you in good health. I'm happy to see you. Nahed also. Last time we met in Jordan, also a part of a mission to help the Syrian refugees in Al-Zatari and other places. As we know, Jordan has more than 600,000 Syrian refugees. Of course, I think to answer your questions, the first question is that we are witnessing the worst refugee crisis in the world. More than 85 million people are displaced, and about 25 million of them are refugees. I think we have to differentiate between displaced people, which means everyone who's displaced from their from their land, and also refugees who are displaced outside of their country. So in Syria, for example, half of the population are displaced, 13 million. Wow. 6.5 million of them are refugees. They live in Turkey, 4 million of them in Jordan, 600,000 in Lebanon, 1 million. Actually, 1 out of 4 Lebanese people who are living in Lebanon is a refugee, whether they're Syrian refugees or Palestinian refugees. Of course, for the Arabs, the name refugee linked to the Palestinian crisis.
Right.
We've been seeing Palestinian refugees over the past 70 years. There are 6 million Palestinian refugees. But right now, the acute refugee crisis in the Arab world is the Syrian crisis that led to this huge displacement of the population. In Idlib, to answer your second question, half of the population have been displaced from other cities, from Damascus, from Homs, from Aleppo and Dar'a. They live in camps for the displaced, about 1,250 camps. I was there a few months ago, and I've seen these camps that along the Syrian-Turkish border, people live in desperate situation, and they are dependent on aid. 80% of the population are dependent on the humanitarian assistance that are coming to them through Turkey, through this one border crossing that, as Nahed has mentioned, is being threatened to be blocked. So of course that will cause hunger. About 1 million people will go hungry. There will not be clean water. There will not be education for the children. So the consequences of blocking that border crossing by Russia, by the Russian vetoes, are huge and catastrophic.
Is it difficult for Med Global, your organization that provides healthcare and other assistance? Is it difficult for you to get into Syria, or are you only allowed into certain areas of Syria to reach the refugees?
Of course,
or the displaced.
That's excellent question. The Syrian regime or Syrian government will not allow any organization to work in its controlled areas. I mean, the areas that is controlled by the Syrian regime, and the other side, the area that is controlled by the opposition. Because we chose to work in areas that are supporting the displaced in Idlib, then we're not allowed to work in the regime-controlled areas. And that also goes to many other international NGOs that are working in disaster regions. The regime gave them two choices. Either you work with us under our control, or you work with the other side. So the only way that to get to Syria is through Turkey, to the northwest of Syria. And the situation is terrible, and there is a need to more NGOs to work there. And it's not easy to get there, because you have to go through a process of vetting. You have to get a humanitarian permit from Turkey to get to the border crossing. But we have local team in Idlib that is doing most of the work.
And that's an area where you're able to operate without having to subject yourself to the government dictates and stuff. Nahed, is it how bad is the situation in terms of rallying the world to recognize, with so many things going on all over the place, that there's an urgent need there? We don't hear enough about Syria. We don't hear enough. We hear about the conflict, but we don't hear enough about the people and their needs. It's become a political thing. Is the world, organized to come together? And how does Russia end up, standing in the way to block everything? Is it because nobody pays attention? Is it getting the attention it needs? What are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe that, the Syrian crisis was in the lead, of news and media for maybe continuous 8 or 9 years. Now, maybe the whole international society after COVID-19 is really exhausted economically, politically. So many other conflicts has been erupted. So they, intentionally or not intentionally, they decided that this issue not to be on the priority of the political agenda. However, it is still a pressing issue, because why they are mobilizing all this support, the European Union and the American, I don't think that it is for the sake of the Syrian people. Otherwise, they would have ended this crisis maybe in 2014 or 15. But they are afraid of a new immigration session after closing this border. And Europe now and the whole international society is relating between security and immigration. And with the rise of the right wing, they are really afraid that new immigration will occur. So the European would like to provide support not only through the crossing, but also to Syrian neighboring countries to convince the refugees that this is a safe place and they can stay there and they don't think of moving to Europe. And also it is out of moral obligation, because they know that those people are under siege and under living in appalling conditions. But in my personal opinion, if the whole international society is really serious, they would have forced for the implementation of the UN resolution 2254, which or 2245, which includes or necessitates the starting of a political process, which leads to a transition of the regime and power for all the people to return back. Of course, Russia is a stakeholder, and Russia is the regime ally. For this reason, Russia will defend its position to the end. And
Right.
this is why we see, two separate camps, two separate international camps.
Dr. Sahloul, I don't want to drag you into politics because I want to try to balance this, but do you have any feelings about, is the U.S., for example, the new President Joe Biden, is there do you sense that there is a priority for this issue with the U.S. and the new president? Is this something that we are putting focus on? Tell us about that.
We're very disappointed. This is an excellent question. And people have hope when a new administration comes. We met with President Biden actually at Syrian American leaders, and he talked about the Syrian crisis. His Secretary of State Blinken mentioned that there were mistakes, quote unquote, that were done from the U.S. policy towards Syria, and that he pledged to be more engaged on the Syrian crisis. But it is not the case so far. Syria is not a priority to our administration, yet they're focused on COVID, on global warming, on China, on Yemen, even in the Middle East, and Iran, as everyone knows. But Syria has not risen to be a priority. Actually, the last time President Biden talked about Syria, and the only time when he met with Putin, he mixed between Syria and Libya. So it is not a priority. But I think to answer the question that you've mentioned, because we talk about numbers and we talk about politics, people get confused. They're turned off from the Syrian crisis. We've been talking about that for 10 years. I think it's important to humanize the crisis and talk about people who are affected. The reason that people sympathize with the Palestinians in the last crisis, because I think as Arab and as Muslims, as American who care about justice, we humanized, actually for the first time in my lifetime, the Palestinian conflict. And we have to do the same with the Syrian conflict. We should talk about the doctors, the nurses, the refugees themselves. We can talk about Aya, whom I met, a Syrian refugee's child in Lebanon. She was living in a tent with her family. She speaks Aramaic. The language, the only villages that speak the language of Jesus Christ are in Syria. 3 villages, 1 Christian and 2 Muslims. And she speaks Aramaic in Lebanon.
I've always argued, and I'm Palestinian Christian, a Christian Palestinian, although I always say that I'm Muslim by culture, because we really are not separate. We're two of the same people. But I always argue that here in the United States, we need to address Christians with the thing that touches their heart the most. And again, this has nothing to do with being Muslim, but they need to know the Christians who are tied to them are in Syria. The way the enemy has presented Syria to the Christian Americans is, oh, they're Muslim, they're foreigners, they're different. And then people don't even talk about it. They don't care about it. And I know that in the community, there's a big debate about that. We're not separate. We're one people. But I think we got to think with strategy, with our heads, and say, how do I get that American guy who's paying his mortgage and waking up in the morning worried about COVID to think about Syrian refugees? And he needs to know that, as you pointed out, the only people still speaking Aramaic in the world are in Syria. The language of Jesus. And if some Christian hears that and doesn't respond with sympathy, they're not really Christian in my eyes. It's terrible. Nahid, let me ask you about this. The politics is so important, and opening the door, because without the politics, you can't open pathways and doors so that groups like Med Global can get inside there, and the volunteers that he has that are the doctors and professionals to get in there to provide the help that everybody needs. But is a sense of, do you have the same sense that the president needs to do more and hasn't done enough?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you bring us to the previous question. Well, in my opinion, the American administration, and especially President Biden's administration in Washington, lowered the ceiling of its goals in Syria, and they put them in three priorities, like expanding the international resolution of cross-border aid, which ends or expire by tomorrow, and then the complete defeat of ISIS to prevent them to return ever. And this is why they have the meeting on the 28th of June with the European Union. So Anthony Blinken was trying to convince the European countries to restore their fighters from Syria, to close Al-Hol camp, which includes ISIS fighters, and finally for a comprehensive ceasefire to spread all over Syria, hoping that this will be the ground for launching this process to implement the UN resolution 2254. Now, return back to your question. Actually, I attended, an international activity, and I presented a talk last week, which is the Generation Equality Forum that has been held in Paris with the presence of more than 20, world leaders and the presidents. And after or during the dinner session, I was talking with a very, important person in the French leadership, and he was asking me, do you think that the minorities and the Christian are safe in Syria? My goodness, I mean, they are safe, and maybe they are in a better boat than me, and for sure, not all the minorities, but especially Christian. So there is a misleading conception and ideas that has been delivered deliberately to the West to tell them that the Christian
don't worry, right? To say don't worry, everything is fine.
Yeah. They want to tell them that those people are under attack. So maybe Assad regime is protecting them because it is secular regime and stuff like that. But in fact, the reality is totally different. Do you know that in Dar'a, the two churches that have been rebuilt now have been paid for by Sunni Muslim in Dar'a? We cannot see Syria without them. We cannot see
absolutely. And that's the thing, not to let people think that we're separating any of this. They really are two stories. But when you talk to Americans, you got to talk to the issue that they care most about. We're going to take one quick break. And when we come back, I want to ask both of you, what do you think needs to be done? What can be done? And I'll tell you, the one thing that needs to be done is getting the story out more. And I feel sad that we only have a half hour to do this. This is really a 3-hour conversation every day for the next 4 weeks. I'm Ray Hanania. I'm on the line with Ghazzoul from Nanterre University in Paris, and Dr. Zaher Sahloul, a longtime friend. He's president of Med Global USA, and they both are doing so much to help people in need. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to continue the discussion on Syria right after these messages.
اللجنة الأمريكية العربية والإسلامية للعمل السياسي أمباك تدعوكم للمشاركة في الانتخابات التمهيدية في 3 أغسطس في ولاية ميشيغان. انتخبوا المرشحين الذين تدعمهم أمباك في انتخابات مدينة ديربون: سوزان دباجة لعمدة مدينة ديربون، ومرشحي المجلس البلدي لمدينة ديربون: كمال القادري، سعيد العواضي، خضر فرحات، مايك سرعيني، لسام لقمان، ليزلي هربك، وخليل عثمان. للاطلاع على بقية المرشحين المدعومين من أمباك تفضلوا بزيارة أمباك michigan.org. صوتوا بنعم للمقترح الأول والذي يقضي بإعادة النظر في دستور المدينة. صوتوا بالبريدة وشخصيا في مقر البلدية من الآن وحتى موعد يوم الانتخابات في 3 أغسطس. انتخب وشجع أصدقائك على الانتخاب. صوتنا قوتنا، مستقبلنا، ويصنع الفارق. هذا الإعلان مدفوع من قبل اللجنة الأمريكية العربية والإسلامية للعمل السياسي أمباك.
New Dawn Academy provides your kids with a curriculum that's rich in science, technology, engineering, and math.
We want students to really experience what problem solving looks like. What does it mean to build things together? And really working on those analytical skills is what makes New Dawn Academy's program very unique.
this school will certainly provide them with academic excellence, but also state-of-the-art buildings and inviting to students.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
And we only have minutes left on the radio show, but I want to ask Dr. Sahloul if he can tell us what's the most important thing that people need to know and hear, and how can they help?
I think, Ray, this is the most important question because, you know, we should really do not care about the global politics and geopolitics. These are beyond us. But I think the most important thing is for us to care. And I think we should be morally consistent. I mean, if you care about Palestinian refugees, you have to care about Syrian refugees and Iraqi refugees and Yemeni victims of war. And of course, people who are suffering in our country here, in our backyard, in the United States. Morally consistent is the essence of being a human. You pay more attention to what's happening in these areas in the world because these are people like me and you who want to have the same aspirations. They want to have better future for their children. They want to have food and shelter and predictability of what happens to them and their lives. So care about Aya, care about Mahmoud. This is a child I've met in Aleppo in the midst of barrel bombing. He lost his two brother and sister because of barrel bombs. His mom was injured because of barrel bomb and lost her fetus. Care about Dr. Nusaima, who is one of the pulmonologists who is leading COVID treatment in Idlib. Care about Asma. She's a child in one of the displaced camps. She was displaced with her family 7 times. She's from north of Hama before she ended up in a displacement camp in Idlib. She wants to be a physician in the future. She goes every day 2 hours in the mud to reach her school. So I think caring is important and translating this care into compassion. That means donate if you'd like to donate to MediGlobal or other organizations. Call your senator and congressman. I mean, we live in a democracy, and you have to use the tools of democracy. Calling your senator and the congresswoman or congressman, telling them that you care about Syria and you want them to do something to end the crisis peacefully. We're not asking for intervention here. We're asking about being engaged and making Syria a priority. So that's the bottom line: caring, paying attention, and use the tools of democracy.
Thank you, Dr. Sahloul. Nahed, you got less than 60 seconds and to say something, a final thought to share. And again, I'm going to ask Layla about seeing if we can do a longer program because we need to elevate this topic more, but go ahead.
Thank you very much. I will second every word that Dr. Sahloul has mentioned. So definitely you add this to my answer as well. And then I will say that instead of always looking for the consequences, it is better to address and to tackle the cause. The cause is the lack of the implementation of UN Resolution 2254, because if we implement this resolution, peace will be restored in Syria and the whole consequences will stop. Until now, the European Union and the international society paid more than $25 billion to support the Syrian refugees. You could save this money to restructure and rebuild Syria, so address the cause and put too much pressure on the Russian and Iranian to withdraw from Syria and for the whole process to start again and to end this story and agony for everybody. Thank
Dr.
you.
Nahed Ghazzoul and Dr. Zaher Sahloul, thank you both for joining us. Again, I owe you much more time to talk about this. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to say thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll talk to you again. I'll be on Wednesday morning. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.